No one buys it. It's a fake act at this point.
It's not a fake act.
Yes, you hate big. I mean, like, you love your dad, but there's no way, like, you being fake nice to your dad doesn't play.
Was that not authentic?
No, hell no, that wasn't authentic.
What?
He knew it wasn't authentic.
I was being authentic.
No.
Yes, I was.
There's no such thing. It would almost be like Big Dog being nice to people. It's almost that unauthentic. You being nice to Big Dog.
But
and I mean, I get what you're trying to do, but I mean, I don't think it plays. Like, there's no way he's gonna be able to handle it anyway.
What did you say before we just started recording? That I should be nice to him the whole month.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Be nice to him the whole month. He won't know how to act. Yeah,
well,
you can do it for 2 weeks. No way. Let me tell you something. They're not going to get along during March Madness. Trust me. I can promise you that. Fucking dumb. Fucking. Dylan, quit acting like a lunatic. You shut the fuck up. No, it'll be the back and forth for that. Talk about shooting content off the podcast. We should just have a live camera in there.
That's Bailey's idea.
One on your dad, one on you, and your dad will be turning around talking to me. You believe this fucking guy up here? He picked so-and-so. What an idiot. It's going to go on the whole first round.
Well, last year he didn't even come in like the whole first day. It was weird, and then he started coming in after that.
Oh yeah, because his bracket was hot. He made some.
His bracket was not hot last year.
He made some adjustments.
Oh yeah.
After the first day, he picked every winner, I believe.
It was hot after all the games ended. It was hot.
He came in, took one look at Charleston and their defensive positions yesterday, and said, "This team's going to win the game," and walked out. And sure enough, Charleston did win in overtime.
They beat Stony Brook.
And to be fair to your dad, like, obviously the first glance didn't really mean much, but he did pick the winner. And he has no idea who's better, Charleston or Stony Brook.
Well, he walked in and
he goes,
on the screen.
Is that J.J. Mitchell's team or something? And you go, who the fuck are you talking about? Oh, it's Stony Brook. That's so-and-so's guy on it was like Colin.
Yeah, Colin Cowers.
Like, guy went to Stony Brook or something.
Yeah, it was Colin Cowers' guy. But he did get I'm sure. Look, he's not an idiot. He looked at the screen and saw 1 Charleston, 7 Stony Brook.
True. So he's like,
it wasn't that hard of a pick.
You think he put
now I will
coming
say,
in that quick and putting 2 and 2 together that the white team was Charleston? I don't know if he did that.
That's a good point. He may not have known that the white team was Charleston. And I will say, when he came in, there was 15 seconds to go, and Stony Brook had the ball holding for 1 shot. So it's not like it was a good position for Charleston. They were sitting there like in a bad spot. Before we go to March Madness, let's start with NFL because there's been a ton of things that have happened.
Yep.
I'll just run down the list of a few things, and you can chime in as we go, and then we'll do some takes on these. But
I was gonna try to pull up I have the live free agency up right now.
I'm gonna read you some, and you can add in. We've got obviously I think that this is probably the biggest move is Kirk Cousins to the Falcons. 4 years, $180 million. I mean, this guy has been to the playoffs as a starter 4 times. In those playoffs, he's 1-4 as a starter. Now, I will give him one thing. They lost once at home to the Seahawks because they missed a 19-yard field goal as time expired. A 19-yard field goal. Thanks, Blair Walsh. That was back like 20, I have no idea, 20.
I do briefly remember that.
19, maybe. I can't remember the year exactly, but it was real bad. So he should have won that one, but still, even 2 and 3, giving him $180 million. He's the 8th highest paid quarterback in the league now, $45 million annually. The only
That's insane.
That's crazy.
I saw that another thing, just touch on real quick, that was smart is, and I think I told people that this would happen because I think it matters. Mahomes at this point has enough money, and he obviously will get some towards the end, but he restructured his deal to free up, was it $20 million or something? Because they're trying to three-peat.
Well, he's still getting paid the same amount. They're just restructuring it to make it more in the front end and less in the back end.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the opposite. Less in the front and more in the back.
Yeah, it's
so like when they get to the end of the deal.
Oh, then he'll just if he knows there's no chance to win a Super Bowl, then he'll take the money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I definitely agree with that. But yeah, I'm not surprised that he did that. And I mean, if they could go out and get one of these big name receivers to go in there and help Mahomes out, that would be you would make them the Super Bowl favorite right away.
I know they signed Chris Jones to like an absurd deal. He got 160 over 5 years. And they also, who else did they go get? they franchise tagged L'Jarius Sneed for $20 million. So that's quite a bit of money. Now I am interested to see how many of those defensive pieces over the next couple of years they keep, because a lot of those guys are young and talented, and they're not going to be able to afford. You restructure Mahomes' deal, great, but you're giving one defensive player, what is that? 32.5 million or $32 million a year over 5 years. It's a lot of money to give a defensive lineman. He's that good. He is. I'm not saying he's not, but it's going to be hard for me to see how they keep the best corner, L'Jarius Sneed, after this year. I think you can do a unexclusive franchise tag for one extra year or whatever, but they probably only have Sneed for this year and one more. Obviously, they're trying to win as much as they can now.
Yeah. I wonder if Sneed, typically people don't like when they get franchise tags. So,
well, I'm sure
sometimes it works. If you're a corner and because it's franchise tag, is it you average the top 5 or top 3 guys?
Top 5.
So it's gonna be, like you said, it's gonna be it's pretty penny. So it's like they probably know that with the way the roster is set up and Mahomes' deal on the back end, that they're not going to be able to afford him, so they're going to keep him this year.
What they're doing. But the problem with it is, for him, is like corners have these years and they get these massive deals, and then like if you don't get that deal and you have a bad year, it's going to fuck him. But he is that good. I think he'll end up getting a big deal anyway. Real quick, back to Kirk Cousins. What's a worse deal? Is it worse to pay Kirk Cousins $45 million a year or to pay Jalen Hurts $51 million a year? Because that's how much he's fucking making. Yeah, that's right. The Black Tom Brady's making $51 million a year.
ETB.
51.
We should really have Big Dog in here for this conversation. That's his man. Okay?
I would burn.
He would say it's worth every penny for $50 million. I would
burn my money before I gave Jalen Hurts $51 million.
Yeah, no. Hurts making 50 is way worse than Cousins
way
making,
worse.
What, 40?
Yeah, 45 versus 51.
Well, it's all these contracts are also stupid. The cap keeps going up. This is how it's going to work. Like I told my buddy Sean, I think it was 4 years ago, Mahomes signed his deal. I go, dude, in 4 years, this is going to be like the greatest deal in the NFL. Now he's going to restructure, and he's going to want more money. That's what always happens. But when he signed it, he's like, they're not going to be able to keep anybody around this. I'm like, dude, the salary cap's going to keep going up.
Yeah.
And I remember when he signed that deal, and it was the average of like $41 million a year or something like 4 years ago. And people were like, they're going to lose every game they play. There's going to be no one there. I'm like, they always find a way to franchise tag, restructure stuff. And I agree it's a lot of money, but at the time he was the highest paid. And that's what always happens in the NFL. The latest guy to sign the deal becomes the highest paid guy. And I remember when Stafford was in Detroit, and he's like, Matthew Stafford's the highest paid, and then Aaron Rodgers the next week got a new deal, and it just always keeps going.
No, that's how it works. But I will say it is different when you're paying. Mahomes getting that deal is one thing, but giving Jalen Hurts 51 is a different story, because the value you're getting from Mahomes for 50, like even if he was being overpaid, which he's probably not, is completely different than giving a guy who's, an average quarterback $51 million a year. Russell Wilson went to the Steelers, greatest deal in NFL history. They get him for $1.21 million, which means when the Broncos play the Steelers this year, which I assume is going to happen because they're both AFC, the Broncos will be paying Russell Wilson $2.3 million to play against them that night.
Yep.
And so that's pretty impressive that Russell Wilson pulled off this highway robbery.
He's just going to win that game, too.
100% he's going to win that game.
The Broncos are paying him $2 million to beat him. Yeah, that's definitely going to be I'm sure they'll make that like a Sunday or hopefully a Thursday night football game. That would be at least an interesting Thursday night game.
Would be, that's way too good a game for it to be a Thursday night game.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't necessarily want that game on Sunday night or Monday night, but.
No, I agree. I would like to have it on Thursday, make something interesting. The Steelers only have to pay him. They signed him for 1 year, $1.21 million. So they're paying $1.21 million, and the Broncos are on the hook for the other $38 million, which is just fucking nuts. You've never seen anything like that in NFL history. Also, I will say, this makes no sense. The Steelers go out and get Russell Wilson, and then they go out the same day or the next day, and they trade Deontay Johnson, one of their speed wide receivers. That made absolutely no sense to me. You're trying to improve your offense, and so you go get a quarterback, and you get him for pennies on the dollar, and then you go trade a speed wide receiver. Also, you signed him to a 1-year deal, and the reason you're trading Deontay Johnson is because he's got 1 year left on his deal. They traded him for a 5th and a 6th round pick. It just doesn't make any sense to me why you would do that. And then you also have the fact that, do you know who the Steelers went out and hired as their offensive coordinator? You're going to love this one.
Someone bad.
Arthur Smith. So it's just,
nice.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
It's a fucking hell of an offense that guy runs.
Russell Wilson and Arthur Smith. It's like, that's going to be like the Nathaniel Hackett reincarnate.
That's such a weird hire.
It makes no sense.
Is he going to change his entire play? Like that offense is not going to work at all in Pittsburgh. Their offensive line is absolute dog shit. They're terrible. Like Najee Harris. Warren is the better back in that fucking system.
They still haven't realized it in 3 years.
That's going to be an absolute disaster. I can't wait to watch that play out, actually.
If you watch
Russell Wilson, someone posted online, it was like the Pittsburgh Steelers just bought a 2007 Range Rover with 180,000 miles on it, and it was Russell Wilson's face. So true. But they got him for nothing. So I have no problem what they did, with it. Obviously, the contract was untradeable. So I don't know why the Broncos just flat out let him go. I don't necessarily see the point of doing that either. But the Broncos
we talked about it. Make him sweep the fucking locker room for $38 million. What the fuck are you doing?
I don't. Yeah, it doesn't. Sean Payton. I don't know.
It is going to be interesting to see in that offense Arthur Smith, who, if you watch the Falcons last couple years, had Kyle Pitts and Drake London, who Kyle Pitts is like a freak athlete mismatch nightmare, and he saw the ball like once a game for 2 seasons. So it's going to be really fun to watch when George Pickens doesn't touch the ball for 3 straight games, how that plays out. That's going to be the most fun thing to watch.
That's going to go good. Yeah, and George Pickens is good, but yeah, he's a lunatic. So
what about
he's your classic diva receiver.
What about Mayfield getting a 3-year, $100 million contract to stay with the Bucs?
Honestly, I know it seems like a nuts deal, but I would have tried to get him for $25 million a year. But the going rate for quarterbacks is just so high. And to give Baker credit, he had a nice season last year.
He did have a good season.
Yeah, there's nothing that he did that I'm like, this is just an outrageous deal. I'm happy for him in the sense I've never been a huge fan, but that he played himself into, getting that 3-year deal. And, I think Mike Evans is back, right?
They re-signed him
Mike
for 2 extra years.
So, and is Godwin still there?
Yep.
So that offense is, there's some firepower there. Defense is okay.
Did lose their OC, Dave Canales.
Yep.
He wrote that book too, so.
Yeah, it was my dumbass of the week one of these weeks. But yeah, I think the Bucs will be fine. That division's terrible.
It's so bad.
Yeah, so it's them. I don't know what the Vegas odds are, but you would think they're the preseason favorites.
They probably are.
Or is it the Saints?
No, I would think it has to be the Bucs after last year. I would think. I don't know.
Yeah, Vegas still might make it the Saints, but I'm not sure. It's got to be close.
It's close, but I think it would be the Bucs. They went to the playoffs last year. You think about it. I agree. I saw that. I was like, man, you're gonna give him $100 million. You see $100 million there, and it's like, really? But like you said, he had a pretty darn good year. I think they started the year like 3-0, and they finished making the playoffs. They won a playoff game. They beat Philadelphia. They damn near beat Detroit. It was not like some blowout. That game was tight the entire way. They were a couple plays away from going to an NFC Championship game. Will they repeat that? I don't know. But you look at some of the other guys, like the Patriots gave Jacoby Brissett $8 million for 1 year. So when you look at it relative to like other quarterbacks around the league, like non-relevant quarterbacks, so he makes $33 a year, going to a playoffs and being a couple plays away from an NFC Championship game. Jacoby Brissett might start 4 games for the Patriots. He gets $8 million. So it's not really that much when you think about it in that terms.
Yeah, I wonder what their ultimate plan is.
The Patriots?
They're going to draft a quarterback, right?
They have to. They're 3. So right now, and we can get into the draft here in a second, but right now, the mock draft I saw had them taking Jaden Daniels at 3. I don't know that they'll do that, but they traded Mac Jones. Mac Jones is on the Jaguars now. And so they don't have any quarterbacks except for Brissett. And it feels like what they're doing is, this is what I think. I think they're going to draft Jaden Daniels at 3 because I think Drake May and Caleb Williams not in that order, are going to go 1-2. They're going to take Jaden Daniels, who I actually think might be the best quarterback in the draft. They're going to get fortunate that he's going to drop to 3. And they're going to bring in a veteran quarterback in Jacoby Brissett to either start the beginning of the year or start the whole year. Or if Jaden Daniels starts, then they have a veteran sitting there helping him learn the NFL, the offense, who's been around the block, who, who's had some success.
Yeah,
in the league.
Brissett's a good guy to bring in because I think he's a team guy. I mean, he's been in the position where he's been the backup or the starter. I don't think he really cares either way.
Yeah.
He's going to make his $8 million and he'll do a service to whoever they bring in. If I'm them, I think I would rather have Daniels than May. Daniels, I just think has and I'm always have been more of a NFL, just go at the pocket passer guy, but Daniels is just electric. And sure, I get that, the boom or bust with him is probably a little bit more than Drake May. You'd think that Drake May could be, a decent player. But I think I would take Daniels ahead of May.
Would you take Daniels or Williams?
I don't know. I think if I'm a GM, you have to take Williams for the simple fact that if you took Daniels and it didn't work out, you're losing your job in a year. Whereas if you take Caleb Williams, you go, what do you want me to, he's supposed to be a prodigy quarterback. So I think a lot of your, normal casual sports fans don't take a lot of that stuff into consideration.
No, they don't.
It's like, guys, the GM, it's his job to do this, and he knows that if he drafts Caleb Williams, right, well, he knows that even if he's bad, that's the right pick to make, right? Yeah. So,
nobody's going to get on you for picking Caleb Williams if he busts. That's just what ended up happening.
But if you take Jaden Daniels and he's terrible, then
that's like
you're done.
That's like when the Cavs in 2013 took Anthony Bennett first overall. It's like,
who did they take him ahead of?
I forgot who it was.
There was somebody that was.
It was. I
don't know if that draft
bad.
was great anyway, but Bennett was terrible.
It was. The two that year was Victor Oladipo. 3 was Otto Porter. So it wasn't. Yeah, Ben McLemore went 7. KCP went 8. Trey Burke 9. None of these guys. CJ McCollum 10 was probably the best player in that. That's a bad top 10. 15, yeah. Steven Adams, Kelly Olynyk, Shabazz Muhammad. Oh, Giannis went 15 in this draft, but nobody knew Giannis at the time. Nobody's taking him 1. But I do remember this. I will say this: nobody had Anthony Bennett as even a top 5 guy, and then all of a sudden he got drafted 1. Everybody's like, "Wait, what the fuck? What did y'all just do?" But I agree. I also think, and I do agree, you have to take that into account if you're not sure. If I need a quarterback and it's like, man, we're splitting hairs here. Then we take Caleb Williams out of the safety of our job. If I'm a team who, needs a quarterback and I'm sitting there thinking okay, I really think Jaden Daniels is better, then I don't care. I'm taking him. I'm not going to be well, Jaden Daniels is better, but I don't want to lose my job. No, I'm not thinking that. At least I'm not. I'm not sure some of them do. But I'm just saying I wouldn't do that. I would pick Jaden Daniels if I thought he was better. And if I thought it was close, then I'm taking Caleb Williams out of the safety. But I think Jaden Daniels, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm not. It's a lot of those are coin flips at best. Look at Bryce Young this year. So. And CJ Stroud. People thought the opposite. People thought Bryce Young was going to come in and do really well and CJ Stroud would struggle. There was nothing we saw in college that showed that CJ Stroud was going to be this good. It was just, he was very okay for most of his career, with the exception of 1 game. So it's hard to decide, but I don't know. I just think Jaden Daniels is really good. I want to come back to the draft in a second, real quick, running through some of the running backs because they moved. There was a ton of movement. And this is not surprising, right? We expected with how people refuse to pay running backs. None of these deals are very lucrative. You have Aaron Jones going to the Vikings for 1 year, $7 million. Josh Jacobs to the Packers, 4 years, $48 million. That's the biggest deal, I think, that any of them got in terms of total money. Derrick Henry to the Ravens, 2 years, $16 million. That is quite an interesting deal to give a guy that old. Derrick Henry, $8 million a year for 2 years. DeAndre Swift to the Bears, 3 years, $24 million. Joe Mixon to the Texans, Saquon Barkley to the Eagles, Austin Eckler to the Commanders, Tony Pollard to the Titans. I mean, that right there is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different running backs are on different teams.
Yeah.
Starting running backs.
The running back carousel, you're going to see that for the next 10 years, more than likely.
Yes,
we've just gotten to that point. And apparently I saw a lot of safeties complaining that it's kind of the same way with safeties. A lot of people have been released and on the move. And like, I forgot, like I think it was the Broncos didn't re-sign Simmons, and people were like, "What the? How would you not re-sign him?" And so anyway, they're maybe that's the next position that they're going to refuse to pay. But the running backs are just, I'm glad the Texans, and you're going to touch on it too. But like, I think the Texans, who I'm a fan of, it's my NFL team.
Yeah,
they got Mixon, which obviously helps, and they got Hunter and. Who else did they get? Let me look at right here. Jeff Okudah. I forgot how you say Okudah. He's a good player.
They got a corner, Mike Ford, Azeez Al.
And they re-signed Dalton Schultz. That was the big one.
Yeah,
they needed to keep him, but I mean, I think they're going to be really tough to beat next year.
We'll touch on that in a second. Wide receivers. The only really couple guys, we had Jerry Jeudy on the move. He's going to the Browns.
Your guy, Jerry Jeudy.
That's not my guy. I don't like Jerry Jeudy.
Sucks.
Who said I like?
I thought you have him on your fantasy team.
Fuck no. Jonathan has him on his fantasy team. I don't know fucking Jerry
Jeudy guy. Dude, Russell Wilson, Jerry Jeudy.
Fuck Jerry Jeudy. I don't give a fuck about Jerry Jeudy. T Higgins, I do like. T Higgins got franchise tagged by the Bengals. Immediately demanded a trade. And now we see, looks like Bailey says that he's going to the Titans. Bailey's very excited that they're getting T. Higgins. He's coming home, apparently. He's coming home. He's coming home. Just like Tony Pollard. I forgot Pollard went to Memphis. That's right.
Yeah.
I hope, for sake of my fantasy team, I sure hope Tony Pollard has a good year. I'm sure he's going to be splitting carries with Tajay Spears because that guy's a fucking stud. So I'm not happy about that part of it. And I want to touch on the Cowboys in a second, but I just look at some of these running backs. Like, you let Tony Pollard go.
Wait, how much do the Titans pay Pollard?
$8 a year. That's nothing.
It's not much, but Spears is good, man. I think I just would have spent that money elsewhere, but who knows?
Oh no, I probably would too. But I think I think this is the thing though. You look at a lot of teams. How many teams have a one running back who is successful? Like, it's very Derrick Henry until last year was like the guy who got every carry, right? Josh Jacobs did it the last couple years. Well, it lasted literally 1 year. He did it 1 year, got injured all year this year, had a horrible year, was inefficient because he ran out of his legs the year before. The rest of them, look at Tony Pollard, tried to become a single back last year with the Cowboys. Did not work. I mean, when it was him and Zeke, he was fantastic. He averaged 6 yards per carry. Now he sucks. So I just think they're thinking
it's a lot of pressure when you have a running back like Rico Dowdle behind you.
Okay, fuck Rico Dowdle. I swear to God,
what a player Rico is.
Fuck off.
Him and Deuce. I don't know if you saw that. I sent it to your dad, and it was hilarious. It's like Cowboys #1, Deuce Vaughn getting ready. It's like a little midget running around. Not a midget, a little kid running around with a high school.
Go with the midget.
No midget talk. Sorry, I corrected myself. A little high school kid running around with the team, and it says Deuce Vaughn getting ready with his reps for the Cowboys #1.
I think they re-picked him up, but I think they cut him at one point.
Oh, did they?
I think they re-picked him up. But the Cowboys, if they keep Rico fucking Dowdle, man, I swear to God.
Him for sure.
Oh, as the lead back?
Oh, no, but he's just going to be on. I mean, I hope
Who are they going to get? Who's left? Everybody's gone. I mean, they'll probably go pick Zeke back up as 40-year-old fucking man.
They probably will.
Zeke and Rico Dowdle. I'll jump off a fucking cliff, man. It's horrible. Do not start texting on my computer, motherfucker.
I'm not.
We went through this last time.
I'm just trying to mute it.
So
unless it's Nick, then I
no,
won't.
it's not. It was my mother.
Nick or Nick.
It was
Nick
my mother.
Davis or Nick. Big Stone.
We talked about the Chiefs already a little bit. The Eagles, the Texans. We didn't talk much about the Eagles. Saquon goes to the Eagles. They also picked up Bryce Huff, the defensive end from the Jets. And they got C.J. Gardner-Johnson from the Lions. So they've had
him back home. I thought that was a good signing.
They've had a couple of really good pickups. The Panthers they got Deontay Johnson, as we said. They also got Josie Jewell, that linebacker from the Broncos. Bears had a couple good pickups. I know Kevin Byard was real bad this year after the trade, but he's still a stud safety. And They didn't get him for too much money. They got Gerald Everett and DeAndre Swift as well. Let's do this real quick before we move on. I'll start. And if I steal yours, I'm sorry. We're going to do biggest winners and biggest losers.
Well, I know who you're doing the loser, so I get to do the biggest winner.
God, you're going to take mine.
It's the Texans.
Yeah, but I actually prepped for this.
Oh, my God. Go ahead.
Spot.
Well, yeah, but it obviously is the Texans. This is the most obvious, in free agency, this is the most obvious winner and loser ever.
Go ahead.
And we live in the state of Texas. The Texans were the winners and the Cowboys were the losers. You can brand on your Cowboys. I don't want to touch them with a 100-foot pole. Fucking Jerry Jones is a dumbass. The whole organization keeping Mike McCarthy. We really need Big Dog in here to rant about the fucking Cowboys, all right?
Let me real quick.
Go ahead.
Real quick. Let me list all the acquisitions that the Cowboys have made so far this season. That's exactly.
Nobody.
No one. They have not picked up. Oh no. I'm sorry.
They had to pick up somebody, right?
I'm sorry. I forgot. How dare I? They re-signed their long snapper. They re-signed their fucking
That's crucial.
Snapper.
Hey, listen, those
crucial
snaps,
pickup
those
for the Dallas
matter.
Cowboys. That's right. Yeah. Long snaps matter. All right. When we're in that game-winning field goal situation, all right, we need that guy snapping the ball. When we're punting 100 times next year, we're going to really need that long snapper.
I mean, dude, that's the most valuable player on Iowa's football team, the long snapper. If they didn't have them, they run 90% of their plays. That's impossible. But just about everything they do is punt. They don't have that guy. The team falls apart.
It's definitely 25% of their plays because it's a 3-and-out every series. Every time. The Cowboys lost Tony Pollard, which, I would rather have kept him than not kept him. Is it the biggest loss ever the way he played last year? No. But you have to imagine he's going to bounce back a little bit this year. I mean, he was a stud. You also have to take into account that he was coming off a pretty major injury in the playoffs, got back pretty darn quick. And you just have to imagine he's going to be a little bit better and healthier this year. They lose Tyler Biadasz, their starting center. He was the weakest part of the offensive line, but it's just like, you're just...
The odds of them going out and getting a better center are like zero,
Especially not for 1 year, right? Like, maybe we go draft somebody, and in a couple years, he's much better, probably. But they're not going to be better this year. They lost a guy on the defensive line. I forgot who it was. But look, this is the problem. It feels like Jerry Jones is basically just saying, like, fuck it. I do not care about winning. I only care about money, which is fucking odd considering the fact that he's 81 years old and has a net worth of $14 billion.
See, I don't believe that at all because
what else explanation is there?
No, I have no idea. I mean, I have no idea what the explanation is. I don't know if they're thinking, hey, I don't know the ins and outs.
Cheap fuck.
The ins and outs of the cap or how much money they have or this, that, and the other. I don't know if it sets up to make a push better the next year after Mike McCarthy's gone, but I don't know why you keep him and just do this. Like, why keep Mike McCarthy, right? I agree with you. Why keep Mike McCarthy in this team that showed they're an okay team, but you lose your center, you lose Pollard, and then you're right. It seems like they're obviously just throwing the season away. I have no idea why, but I just find it hard to believe because we all know how much Jerry Jones cares about winning, or at least seems that way. So the fact that he's, 80, how many years does he have left? I can't imagine him just throwing a year away, but it seems like that's what they're doing right here.
With modern science and the way they can, today they can put a pig heart in a man. So, I've seen that. I think it's no joke. You could live to 200, 300 years old nowadays, Yeah. No, but I do agree with you. Like, it feels like he is throwing the season away and saying, okay, like when he made the decision to keep Dak and Mike McCarthy, it was like, all right, we're just going to play this season out. It's probably going to be disastrous, and then I'll fucking cut Dak and fire Mike, and we'll restart. Well, you're going to restart from what? You're 81. You're going to be 82 next year when we're starting the same fucking position. You're going to have no quarterback and no coach, and you're not changing. Like, you're not hiring somebody like a Bill Belichick to run the organization. You're hiring another person like Mike McCarthy who you can control as a fucking puppet, because that's what he is, dwindling his little strings and just telling him what to do and sitting on the fucking player meetings. It's just out of control, and it's going to be real hard over the next couple of years to be a Cowboys fan, harder than it's been.
And just so you people at home know, Big Dog.
What do you mean, you people?
You people. You people. Big Dog fans. He denounced the team yesterday. Said he hopes they lose every fucking game they play.
He did say that.
I'm done with them. I'm fucking done with them.
But to be fair, how many times has he said that over the last year?
He says it every week. But he said it with conviction this time. He meant it this time.
He meant it. We talked a little bit about the draft. I want to mention a couple things about it real quick. So NFL draft is 6 weeks away, April 25th. The mock draft, obviously, we talked a little bit about Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels going 1, 2, 3. That's probably what's going to happen. I think it's really interesting that basically the Vikings don't have a quarterback, right? They traded Kirk Cousins. We said that earlier in the show. They don't seem to have any fucking plan here other than trot. The fucking what's Josh Dobbs? What's your nickname for Josh Dobbs? I forget. Oh, I thought you had a nickname for
Josh Dobbs.
Yeah,
a lot of people call him the astronaut.
There you go. Thank you, the astronaut. That's what it is. The astronaut. I don't think they're going to trot him. I don't think they're going to trot him out there.
This is funny. Sports Illustrated article I'm reading is talking about where's the Jones family. It says the Cowboys front office clearly has a plan. This isn't an accident, and the Stephen Jones and company aren't stupid. In fact, Stephen Jones. Hold on. In fact, Stephen Jones on Monday, Topin free agent, wasn't really vacationing. He was actually working. ... He just wasn't working on improving the Cowboys roster. That's the another Sports Illustrated article. Yeah, okay. Yeah. It was Sports Illustrated throwing him under the bus.
That's actually pretty bad.
A couple days ago.
Oh man, yeah. And there's nothing more to say about the Cowboys. It's pathetic.
It really is weird. I will say that the last few years, the last couple years, free agency, not really bring it. Last year, they didn't bring much in last year, did they? I remember y'all complaining it was more than this year.
We went and got Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, okay.
We went and got...
which was actually a good pickup for cheap. I mean, that's
for
fine.
him, I like Brandon Cooks. Yeah. That was a good pickup. We didn't really get anybody defensively, did we? I can't remember. Oh, Stephon Gilmore. That's right. Yeah.
So those are, two decent moves to make you better, and
but
I don't know what they're going to do.
What are you saving your money for? Especially this free agency, because this free agency, there's a ton of good players. This is one of the better ones we've seen in a while. Look at all the guys on the move. I mean, you don't go get...
I thought for sure they were going to bring in Henry. That was the most cowboy move ever. I was like, oh, they're going to go pick up Henry right here.
I'm not upset that we didn't because he's so old, but
I thought for sure they were going to do that. If you're going to
get rid of Tony Pollard, then I might as well have gone and gotten Derrick Henry. He's better than Tony Pollard, or at least he has been over the course of his career. Whether he will be or not next year, I don't know, but
they definitely should have tried to get, and they could have got him for a year or two cheap. They definitely should have tried to get Aaron Jones. That's who they should have got.
By the way, God bless the Packers for releasing Aaron Jones. He's been held captive for the last 3 years by Matt LaFleur because Matt LaFleur and Aaron Jones have a beef because Aaron Jones has an illegitimate child with Matt LaFleur's wife. And I believe that wholeheartedly because there's no other explanation.
I love how we can't talk about midgets on this show, but we can talk about alleged love triangles with Aaron Jones and the coach of the Green Bay Packers.
It's not alleged. This is proven true in my brain. I believe this wholeheartedly.
You definitely do.
You might... Also, I don't think we're going to catch as much heat for saying that. But saying midgets on the show, and look, let's not act like we're just saying, oh, we're just talking about midgets. Y'all were talking about fucking punting and throwing the midgets, okay? Big fucking difference between what you were trying to, oh, we can't talk about midgets. No, you can't talk about kicking them and throwing them across into a fucking dartboard, okay? No,
that wasn't me. That was your dad.
Yeah. So back to Aaron Jones. He's been held captive. Have you ever seen the movie The Room? Where the girl is locked. She's been captive in the room, but she gets out and she's exploring the world for the first time because she's been held captive by this guy. Yeah, I'm not making light of that, but that's what this is like. Aaron Jones coming out.
He's finally out
the room, and he's going to break free, in Wolf of Wall Street. You're free now, and he's going to start running around the fields out in the country, and he's going to go for 1,500 yards this year. I can't fucking wait. My fantasy team is very, very happy. The Vikings, especially with no quarterback, it's going to be a run-heavy offense. But good for you, Packers. Go get Josh Jacobs so you can run him into the ground for 2 years, and he was already burnt out before you got him.
Yeah, seriously. Anyway, what does anybody know what the plan is for the Vikings quarterback?
So, okay, I was going to get to that in the draft.
Yeah.
We'll go. Let's touch on the draft. So they currently, I believe they pick, I'm sorry, they're 11th. Okay, so they're currently 11th. They said 11th. Now, there are, is that Big Dog singing in there? I could hear it from in here. That's funny.
Voice of an angel.
The voice of an angel. So a lot of mock drafts now are saying that they are going to trade up to number 5 with the Chargers and take J.J. McCarthy at number 5. That is supposedly
interesting. It's
real interesting because dude, tell me if you disagree with this, but I just don't think McCarthy's going to be a top 5 pick.
What was he before the season when he projected like a 6th rounder or something?
I don't know.
It was something.
I mean, it's not, the thing about it too is, it's not like he went out and lit the world on fire. Yes, he's a winner. Look, it's good to have a winner. That is very true. Like, you get a guy who's won state championships. He's been to 3 college football playoffs, won 3 Big Ten titles, won a national title this year. He is a winner, and they don't win a lot of those games without him. Like, when they had Cade McNamara before him, they were not nearly as good. He's much better. And I don't think Sherrone Moore is some fantastic play caller like a lot of people do. I think people are gonna see that next year with no Harbaugh and no McCarthy. It's gonna be a real struggle for Michigan for the next couple of years. But that said, I just don't know that he screams NFL talent to me. How tall is he? 6'3"? I mean, he's not huge. He's relatively athletic, but he's not some freak athlete.
Yeah.
He's got a good arm, not a great... Like, there's just nothing that stands out to me about him, right? Like, he has a bunch of stuff that he does well, and he is a winner, but he doesn't have a big arm. He's not big. He's not all that mobile. He's not explosive. What does he do incredibly well? He takes care of the ball, I guess, but that doesn't always translate.
You can't take someone number 5 overall or whatever with the trade up in the first round to take someone that can take care of the ball. You got to have someone that can. I agree with you. I mean, I think it's definitely a stretch to take J.J. McCarthy in the first round, let alone top 10 picks. So
here's the problem. So you look at the order, right? So Chicago goes 1, right, from Carolina, Washington, New England. They're all taking quarterbacks, right? Then you look at the next teams after them. Arizona 4, Chargers 5. Neither of those teams are taking a quarterback. Tennessee, Giants 6, not taking a quarterback. They just signed, I forget who, but they just signed somebody to back up Daniel Jones, so they're not drafting one. Tennessee I don't think is drafting one with Will Levis now. Atlanta went and got Kirk Cousins. The New York Jets are obviously not. The Bears at 9 won't because they already will have taken one at 1, and you're 11. So to me, I don't understand. This is like a legitimate thing that people are saying is going to happen or is very likely to happen, that they're going to trade up to number 5 to take a quarterback. I don't understand why, because what team in front of you is taking a quarterback anyway? You know what I mean? Which of those teams is going to take a quarterback? None of them. So what? You're going to trade with the Chargers. You're going to move up 6 spots. You're going to give up your 11th pick for their 5th, and you're going to have to give them probably at least a 2nd rounder this year, if not probably a 1st rounder next year. That's probably what it'll be. It would probably be a move up, and then they get your 1st rounder next year. That's probably for a 6-spot move up. That's probably what it is that early in the draft. So it doesn't make any sense to me. And you look at like the Chargers, if they're sitting there and they're offered that, they're taking that in a heartbeat because they're probably going to go with a trench guy, knowing Harbaugh. They have him projected to take Malik Neighbors. I don't understand why they would. They're going
to take Joe Alt.
If they will at 5, if they traded back, they would get the 2nd O lineman because the Giants, I'm assuming with how bad their O line has been, I'm assuming they're going to take an offensive lineman at 6.
You would think. There's a lot of people saying that they're going to take a receiver.
I saw that too. I disagree. I just think after last year, there's no way. Like, how could you not take a lineman there? I would be shocked.
I mean, I agree. The receivers are terrible, but they need an offensive lineman.
You have to go offensive line, I think. So I don't know. I don't think you should trade up for sure. I think that'd be an absolutely horrific, catastrophic move to give up like an early 2nd or a next year 1st when you're kind of in a rebuild mode. You just traded Cousins. You're talking about trading Jefferson. Like, you're probably going to pick up some draft picks for Jefferson if you do trade him. So just stockpile, take the best available player you can get. If you don't get McCarthy, who cares? What does it matter? He's not that great anyway. I mean, I don't know what NFL scout is looking like. Man, he jumps off the paper at me. I just don't see it. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't see it. I think he'll be an okay. He reminds me, his comparison to me is it's Colt McCoy. That's who he reminds me. He's Colt McCoy. He's a little taller. That's about it. A little taller, maybe a little bit stronger arm.
I would not, first of all, like I said, not in the top 5, not in the top 10, not in the first round.
Would you take him at 11? Yeah, so you wouldn't take him at 11, right?
No,
yeah.
I want to take J.J. McCarthy in the first round at all.
Yeah.
The stuff with the quarterbacks, it's just gotten
ridiculous.
It's all, I mean, I get that it's worth some of these franchises taking the risk trying to find the franchise quarterback, because if you do, it solves pretty much all your problems, right? Or 80% of your problems. You have to have a good quarterback to win in the league. So I get why they try, but I would be shocked if they did that, to be honest with you. But who knows? It seems like that might be trending that way, though, because like you said, I mean, they got rid of Cousins. They don't have anybody else. So, I mean, they could obviously start one of those guys that they put in there last year, but they're certainly not going to go to the playoffs doing that.
No, I honestly, at this point, just have a bad year. Start Josh Dobbs or fucking Nick Mullins or fucking Pee Wee Herman. Doesn't fucking matter. Just start somebody. Throw someone out there. Throw high school Mark Brunell, Turner Reimel out there, okay? Uncle T can go play quarterback for the Vikings.
I can hand it off.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, like they say in Friday Night Lights, all you got to do is exist in those 3 seconds between you getting the snap and you handing Booby the ball, all right? We got a runner. We've been blessed, Mike. Can't throw the ball. So, just take your lumps, lose this year. Your fans won't be happy, whatever. You've been pretty competitive for a while. You made the playoffs 2 years ago. Cousins has given you some good years where you've had like some hope and some potential. Eat shit for 1 year. I know he wants a crazy deal. I think he's that game changing. I wouldn't trade Justin Jefferson. I think that's dumb. But if they do, then you at least have a couple picks probably to rebuild with. I think you keep him. You save for next year. You tank. You get a top quarterback, and next year's draft, you get your choice of the litter. You're not getting sloppy fourths from the fucking first 5 picks. And that's just the route I would take. I don't know if they're going to do that. The reason I would say they're not going to do that is because of what they did last year, which is they lose Cousins, and it's like they should have just tanked last year. Like, okay, you lose your guy, just tank and play for next year and get a top draft pick. No, they go and trade for fucking Josh Dobbs. Like, that's going to do anything. And they win just enough games to get 11th instead of 5th or 4th, where they would be in position to maybe get a better quarterback. Maybe they should have just lost every game and gotten a top 3 pick is what they should have done. But that's not here nor there. But let's move on a little bit. We'll talk about the NCAA tournament. We're in the middle of conference championship weekend. Or week, I guess. We have Wednesday all the way to Sunday games left. We have some of the bigger tournaments starting today. We had the Big 12 tournament start yesterday, going on today. That first full 4-game slate is today.
Yep.
Already had a couple games play out as we're recording this. A couple of the ACC games are going on right now, too. I think Wake's in a huge game against Notre Dame, who they lost to. Huge game. Wake's got to win that or they're out. We'll talk some conference championships here. I guess let's talk through who you think's going to win these conference titles. Maybe give me which conference you think maybe a dark horse could win that could steal a bid from one of those leagues. I can start with the Big East because this is my best bet of the week, and I already bet this. It has moved, so if you're going to go bet this, I would caution you that the price is a little bit more expensive now, but I got UConn to win the Big East title at -135, which is an absurd price to me because you look at their road, they're going to play Xavier Butler in their first game. They're going to be a 16 or a 17-point favorite. Then they're going to play St. John's or Seton Hall. They're going to be a 12 to 14-point favorite. And in the last game, if they play who they should, it would be Creighton. And Creighton is the best team they could play. They're going to be a 7.5-point favorite against them. So if you get to the title, you're going to be holding a -135 ticket for a price that's probably -270. So I think there's a ton of value there. I think UConn, and I've said this the entire year, and you can attest to this. I have said UConn is the best team all year. I don't think it's remotely close. I think people are overly high on Purdue. I think people are overly high on Houston. I don't like how either of them play. I don't like how either of them perform in March. And I think UConn has the best coach in the country. They have the best coaching staff as a whole in the country. And they have the best team in the country. Adding Cam Spencer was almost unfair. And if you haven't watched that kid play, he's a little white point guard for UConn. He's absolutely unbelievable. He went to Loyola, Maryland to start his career 3 years, went to Rutgers last year, and then transferred to UConn. The kid is a stud. I mean, he does not miss. So
Rutgers.
That's my Butgers. Hey,
Butgers.
It's hard to go win in Piscataway.
Yeah.
Sure. I like UConn to win the Big East. I think that's a good price. Creighton to get to the final wouldn't be a bad price either at minus like 110 with Kolick out for Marquette. They only have to win 2 games to get there.
I think, I think that's a safe bet.
It's not gambling when you know you're going to win.
There's no such thing as a safe bet. But if you are going to bet, I think UConn will win that tournament. I guess in the Mountain West, I'll go for a fun one. I think we talked about it a little bit. Obviously, New Mexico's kind of playing to get in. They need to win a couple games. I think New Mexico will find a way to win the Mountain West tournament. I mean, I'm sure they'll be like, I have no idea what the odds are. It's probably like 6 or 7 to 1.
Probably, I would think it might even be higher just because there's so many good teams in that.
I mean, it's a gauntlet, but I mean, I think that they're just play. I mean, them and Colorado State are playing for the most out of those teams. You know, I don't know who New Mexico will draw in that second round. I'm looking at the standings here. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess they'd probably end up playing. Is it UNLV next? Maybe I didn't realize UNLV's finished 4th, and
they're actually real good. New Mexico right now is the second team out. So A&M is the last team or the first team out. Second team out is New Mexico. So that's they play Air Force, like you said, tonight. They have to win that or they're out, and then they have to win the second game to have a shot, I think.
Do the Aggies play today?
They do not. I don't think the SEC starts till tomorrow, I believe. Oh, the bad teams start today. Then maybe they do. Maybe they do play.
You can count on it. The Vanderbilt Commodores are playing today.
Okay, so it's like literally the last 4 seeds.
Missouri didn't win a game, right?
No, they went 0-18. Them and DePaul both completed the defeated seasons. 0-18 for each of them. Impressive. Very, very hard to do, to lose every single fucking conference game.
It really is. In college basketball, that's tough.
It's tough. It's also more impressive because Missouri made the fucking tournament last year and returned 3 starters. Like, you have to be really fucking bad as a coach to lose every fucking game with 3 starters back at a team that went to the NCAA tournament last year. I think they won a game. I believe they won they beat Utah State in the first round. They beat Utah State in the first round. That's crazy. Then they lost to Princeton in the second round. But they are
that's wild.
Yeah, they are.
They're 8 and
0-18.
23.
Yeah, it's pathetic. It's absolutely embarrassing.
It's pretty bad.
Let's look a few more. Obviously, I think pricing-wise, the ACC has Duke and North Carolina pretty close to equal favorites. I would love to see them play again because it'll just tell me a lot about Duke. If Duke loses a third time in North Carolina, I'll know that they're not going to my Sweet 16 because they're just frauds. If you can't beat the one good team in that conference,
Duke are absolutely frauds. They are not going to the Sweet 16. They will lose one of the first 2 games. I guarantee it.
Yeah,
guarantee it.
You guarantee it?
No, not really. But I do think they will. I do think they will lose one of the first 2 games. Because what kind of at this point, what are they going to be?
5 or 6. They're going to be in the. That's what they were last year.
They might lose the first round.
They could lose in the first round.
Yeah, depending on who they play. Wake Forest is beating Notre Dame early, 28-15. They're going to win that game.
Wake Forest is beating Notre Dame? Yeah. That's an auto. If they lose that, they can.
They're for sure.
They're out. 100% they're out. That's a big one. Yeah, ACC, I think will come down to them. I don't believe in anyone else in the ACC. Couple of teams with work to do in the ACC. Virginia has to probably win at least one. I don't think they can lose the very first game. They lose that very first game, they're probably going to get out. That's kind of what Lenardi's saying. Like they win and they're in. They're playing. Who are they playing? They'll play either Clemson or Boston College, because Boston College beat Miami last night. So whoever wins that game will play Virginia. I do want to talk about the bubble as well. Let's just do that instead of just going through. We don't need to go through every conference.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
The
okay, so
more important anyway.
100%. So right now, looking at Lenardi, and I'm going to die on this hill. Okay, Indiana State deserves to be in the tournament, and it would be an absolute travesty if they don't get in the tournament. They are 29th in the net right now. Since the net has been a thing, which is, I believe, 2019, so 5 years, the lowest rated team to ever be left out, meaning the best rated team to ever be left out in the net, is 33. So nobody 33 or better 32 or better, has ever been left out of the tournament. They're 29. Now, can that change with conference tournaments and teams could jump them? Yeah, but teams could go below them as well who are above them right now. So it could change. I would be shocked if they finished below or worse than 33. For that alone, to me, gets them in the tournament. Like, just based on that, should get them in. A. B. I'm so annoyed looking at the list of these fucking teams who are above them right now, or just around them. Like, look at these teams. Okay, Michigan State. Michigan State has 13 losses. Seton Hall is the last 4 buys. Their net ranking is 61. And they're fucking Indiana State's 29.
Yeah, I don't really understand that part.
It's ridiculous. TCU, you could argue, is in. That they're a Big 12 team. They deserve to be in. I'm actually surprised they're even in last 4 buys. Mississippi State lost their last 4 fucking games, and they're automatically in over Indiana State. Colorado, Virginia, disgusting. St. John's is the worst of all of them. That's ridiculous. And then you look at some of these other teams. If Villanova wins 2 games, they're going to get in above Indiana State. Wake Forest has a chance to get in after losing 3 of their last 4. New Mexico lost to fucking Air Force. You just, to me, it's just ridiculous that you could even consider leaving the Sycamores out of the tournament. Not to mention, it's just a great story. They won the regular season in the Missouri Valley. They won their conference. They have 27 wins. They lost in the championship game by a few points to Drake, who was in the tournament last year and was a second-place team in the tournament. Put them in the fucking tournament. Fuck Joe Lunardi for having him last team in. I'm so tired of that little fuck. He is so annoying, bro. He just, and people, I swear the bracket committee watches the shit and listens to this fucker. They do. So I know
who doesn't listen to him. Bill Walton.
Bill Walton's a legend, but
Joe, you in your little cave there. Listen, there's Pac-12, the Conference of Champions deserves 6 teams in this year. I'll settle at 6.
It's just ridiculous.
I get it. I think there should always be, you should make the case for mid-majors instead of putting like a Villanova. How many losses does Villanova have?
I believe 14 now. It's 13 or 14. I mean,
they got a lot of losses.
They just...
Virginia is the one that's brutal to me. I mean, I think they're terrible, but like they played, the thing that helps them out is if they win a game in the ACC, they're obviously in. If they don't, and they lose a close game, they'll still probably put them in. I think St. John's would beat Virginia right now. I don't think St. John's very good. It's just the whole body of work I get is what they, go off. And we've had this conversation before. Luckily for Indiana State, Iowa lost to Illinois because if Iowa would have won that, they would have tried to put Iowa in for sure.
That was huge. But they have quad one. But look at some of these other teams. Like I'm looking at Lunardi right here, and he's got if they win 2 games, like they're considered, they have like a chance to get in. Virginia Tech, who ended up they lost just now. But if they had won 2 games in the bum-ass ACC tournament, they might get in. Providence, they play fucking Georgetown in the first round. So they have to win 2 games, but they're going to lose anyway. Syracuse, Kansas fucking State shouldn't even be on the bubble. Ohio State Buckeyes. If they put the Ohio State Buckeyes in and Indiana State gets out, I will not watch the NCAA tournament this year. You can book that.
You're lying, but there's no way.
You can hold me to that.
There's no way. Ohio State's not getting in the tournament.
If the Buckeyes,
I don't even know why he has them there. There's 0% chance.
If the Buckeyes get in the tournament as an at-large and Indiana State gets left out, I will not watch the NCAA tournament. I won't. I will not watch.
I wonder if this St. John's Seton Hall game is a playing game then.
I hope so. So one
tomorrow
of them
at 2:30. Yeah, I mean that's interesting. I mean, whoever wins that's going to be in.
It says he has St. John's out with a loss, is what he says.
Yeah. So but Seton Hall, I mean, if they lose to St. John's, I mean, that's how many losses is that going to be for?
I think that would be 14. I think they have 13 losses. So I put that their last 4 in right. They're the second to last team in.
They're 20-11, so that'd be their 12th loss.
Oh, I'm looking at St. John's. Yeah, Seton Hall is probably in because they beat UConn too. They have the win over UConn.
True,
that's
probably why that.
They don't have that win over UConn. They're probably not in the tournament. But dude, look, come on. Why do we have metrics? Why do we look at the net rankings at all if we're going to put a team who's 61 in over a team who's 29? If you have a mid-major who, for once, I mean, how often do you see teams who are mid-majors ranked that high in the net? You don't. In the KenPom, you don't. So why the one time that we have it are we going to say, it doesn't matter for this time? It only matters when we can justify putting in a better team over a mid-major. That's ridiculous to me.
No, I think Indiana State's going to get in.
I hope so.
If it comes down to them and like one of these other, I don't know. I feel like they're going to get in. I do think it'll be on the last 4 in line. They will play in a play-in game.
That's fine. I don't care if they're
gonna get in, I think.
My Dukes won their conference tournament. My James Madison Dukes are in for sure. We saw Oakland win last night. They killed
everybody, yeah.
McNeese is planned to go tonight. We've seen a couple other. Longwood got in. I don't even know who the fuck Longwood is. College of Charleston won last night in their conference championship
Washington
game.
State, they have as a 6 seed.
Dude, they almost won the Pac-12.
I get it, but I guess they have to be a 6 seed. Yeah, I don't know.
What can they be? I mean, they're only 2 teams making it from the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I take that back. Colorado right now is on the bubble. They're a last 4 in, which is ridiculous. They should not be in the tournament if you're gonna.
They have in the bracketology of Washington State versus James Madison. James Madison would kill them.
That would be a bad matchup.
I honestly think James Madison would kill.
They
Washington
probably
State.
would. James Madison is fucking legit, dude. They're a giant killer. Yeah, I mean. Some of these bubble teams, A&M, you've had your chances.
Morehead State and Kentucky would be a fun one. They have them matched up. That'd just be
that would be awesome.
Threes flying everywhere.
And then what was it? What did I say? Alabama and McNeese. That would be great too. Those 2 games would have a combined 400 points in those.
Yeah.
But we've got a ton of big. Mississippi State has a big game tomorrow. They have to win. They lose that.
That's another team that I do not think is any good.
Well, if they lose that game, there's a real argument to say they're out because they lost their last 4 to end the regular season. So if they lose their first and you finish on a 5-game losing streak, it's going to be real hard to be like, yeah, let's put them in the tournament.
Who are they playing?
They play.
We don't know yet, or do we know?
No, I think they play LSU. I believe they play LSU. So it'd be a real bad loss. That's not going to – the win wouldn't help their resume, but it would probably just seal them getting into at least a last 4. But I think LSU beats them. LSU's like what? They're like – actually, LSU finished above Mississippi. That's actually nuts. LSU finished above Mississippi State in the SEC standings. They had one more win than them in the SEC. Mississippi State finished 8-10 after starting 8-6. Man, you almost can make the argument A&M deserves it over Mississippi State, but – A&M has worse losses. I don't.
A&M's got a lot of losses, but
so does Mississippi State. I think if
A&M played, I mean, it's easy to say it now because Mississippi State's lost 4 in a row, but I think A&M's an actual better team than Mississippi State. But as far as getting in, I think that Mississippi State is ahead of them for a reason.
Mississippi State lost to Southern University at home in the non-conference. They also lost to Georgia Tech. So
Vanderbilt doesn't have a loss that bad, do they?
Presbyterian.
That's just as bad.
It's just as bad. Presbyterian. A&M, yeah. That's right. Vandy beat A&M at the buzzer. On yeah, and I'm pretty sure he traveled right before it. It was a travel or a jump ball.
It was a crazy Euro step.
Oh man. Yeah, let's see what else we have on the bubble here.
Next show we're here, I guess we'll have the bracket out, right?
Yeah.
So we can make our picks.
We're going to do, if we can do Monday next week, that's ideal because we want to do that bracket show right after Selection Sunday comes out. Also, for anybody who wants to join, who watches the show, who wants to join the bracket challenge, I'm going to put the info to it. It's a $50 buy-in, and we usually get around a $1,000 to a $1,500 pool. So we have a nice little prize pool, and we pay like the top 4 to 5 places depending on how many people join. So we always have I've run that thing for 16, 17 years now. It's been a long time since I was like 13 years old. So we'll keep that tradition going. Anybody who wants to join in that bracket. But looking at, like today, Wake Forest, right now, you said they're playing Notre Dame. That's a huge game. New Mexico's got to beat Air Force tonight. Nova plays DePaul. Not that that's going to be a tough one. When is that Seton Hall St. John's game? Thursday at 2:30. That's a huge one. Yeah, tomorrow at 2:30. That's a huge one. Pittsburgh's on the bubble too, and I think that's going to be an elimination game. Pittsburgh versus Wake. Whoever loses that game will.
Pittsburgh should not be in this tournament.
No, Pittsburgh should not, and it would be disgusting if they got in. Memphis, I don't think is getting in. They're second 4 out or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, next 4 out, they're below Providence, Iowa, and Pittsburgh. Yeah, they're toast if that's where he is now.
But I will say, so last couple things on the bracket right now, looking at it. So if you're a fan of any of these bubble teams, you're watching the A10 tournament like a hawk, because Dayton is the only team that is an at-large bid out of the A10. So if they do not win that conference tournament, and Richmond or Loyola Chicago,
which could easily happen,
Dayton's third in that conference. Dayton didn't even win the conference. So if Dayton doesn't win that conference, that shrinks the bubble by 1. If we look at like the ACC, if like say a Pittsburgh were to go on a run and win it, that would steal a bid from somebody. If Ohio State were to win the Big Ten, that would steal. So you're kind of watching these tournaments and you're rooting for the favorites right now, because any bad teams who aren't getting an at-large bid who win a game are stealing a bid. So mid-majors and all the teams on the bubble right there are rooting for the big favorites in all these tournaments in the next couple of days. It's actually, this is kind of the second most fun part of the year, because you get games all day. Like today they started at 11 a.m. You get 11 a.m. all the way to like 11 p.m. games all day long. And they all matter because most of these teams, not all, but a lot of these teams are playing for their seasons.
Yep, for sure.
We watched them last
Conference
night.
Champions Week is always a good basketball week. I think, man, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why. The one thing I'll say is I just don't know why they have the Big East rated so high. Like I get that it's top 8. I get that UConn and Creighton and Marquette for most of the year has been really good. But everybody else just seems so mediocre to me. St. John, Seton Hall, Nova.
That's why I like
Providence. I mean, like those teams,
that's why I like UConn to win the Big East championship. Who's good? It's basically Creighton and UConn. Marquette's fallen off.
And UConn's beating everybody by 100 right now, too.
I mean, it's not even remotely
We
close.
were cracking up. We were watching Providence and then play the other day, and I said, you might want to turn on the Providence-UConn game. Providence is beating them 15-4 early, and at halftime, I think it was 45-24 UConn. I just looked back over, and then in 20 minutes, I'm like, oh, my God. They flipped around a 31-point. I mean, it was just absurd.
They're so good.
Unbelievably good. I've said on the show before, it's like I might pick Tennessee just because I feel like so many people pick UConn, but
Bailey doesn't like that at all.
Yeah, well,
no,
I know he doesn't, but I'm just saying, like, at this point, I mean, I just don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm almost better off just picking UConn, even if 1/3 of the bracket challenge has it, because I just think they're that good.
No, I agree.
I don't think they're going to lose.
That's what I told you.
I mean,
when we were talking yesterday or 2 days ago, you were like, I just don't know how many people are going to pick them. And I said, yeah, I just don't know. And I didn't think this for a lot of the year that they were this much better than everybody. I thought they were better than everybody all year. Said that from the beginning of the year. I didn't think it was like the gap like it's one of the biggest gaps I've seen in a while. And nobody's talked. This is why I think I might take it. Nobody talks about it. Everybody thinks Purdue and Houston have legit chances. I think I don't think I actually said this last time, but Houston has the best odds of winning a national title. It was something ridiculous, like 29% according to ESPN. They have a 29% probability of winning the national title, and the next closest team was like 9%. I don't understand why the computers like them so much. They had something like a 48% chance to get to a Final Four, like a 70% chance to get to the Elite Eight. It was something absurd.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, and I don't think they're that great. I mean, they're good. I think a lot of people are going to be split between Purdue, Houston, and UConn based on the public perception, which is that Purdue is the best team and Houston is really good. So I think that's going to happen. I think also some people will be scared off of UConn because not a lot of people are going to think, oh, they can't repeat, which I probably would agree with most years. But when it's this big of a gap, I may have to take them. I may just have to eat my words, and I always take a team that other people don't. And last year I didn't, and I'm not going to do it this year. I think I'm going to take UConn. I think I have to. Tennessee, interestingly enough, the one, and this is not a bad.
They haven't been playing. They've looked very. I mean, they have some great wins, whatever. But defensively, though, lately,
yeah.
I mean, Connect scored 40 points and they lost at home to Kentucky.
That's
they
what I'm
just
saying.
Can't give.
Offensively, they've been good, but defensively. And my problem with Tennessee, too, is, I was listening to something the other day where they were talking about, like, kind of a bunch of things that, like, commonalities between national champions in the past 10 years. And I think it's, like, none of the last 7 maybe 10 national champs had a guy who's averaged over 18 points per game. It was either 18
better off having distribution.
Right, it was 18 or 20. I mean, I think it just lends itself to the fact that, you need depth in the tournament. And so when you rely on one guy and he has an off night in the tournament, then what happens? And that's the issue. That said, it's not like Tennessee doesn't have anybody who can score. They do. Ziegler can have a big night. Adu has gotten a lot better this year. They are one of the most complete teams in the country, but they do rely on Connect a lot. And if he's having an off night, it's going to be tough when their defense isn't as good as it's been in years past.
Agreed.
Anything else on the college basketball front here we need to discuss?
No, I don't think so. We'll be back next week with fill out our brackets.
I want to. We have about 20 minutes.
And Big Dog's definitely filling out his bracket. He said he's got something for the people.
We're gonna make him post it on here so that he has to actually have a record.
Actually, you know what's funny? He might not actually do that, which is hilarious. He'll be like, "Oh no, I'm gonna."
Oh no, we're gonna get him to do it. No, we're getting him to do it. I need to. I want to pull up real quick our college basketball game if I can, so we can make our adjustments. So I believe you still have UConn and Tennessee. You added Gonzaga, who lost last night to St. Mary's in the conference championship of the West Coast Conference. You also have Kentucky and Creighton, and then your mid-majors are Grand Canyon and McNeese State. I've got Purdue and Iowa State. I'm going to switch one of my two.
You're getting rid of Iowa State?
I have to, dude. They're just – I've watched them play. I bet against them. I bet on them against BYU to win the game when they were down. Then I bet against them took Kansas State as my big bet on Saturday, and they lost that game outright. They just have really struggled to score. They look like last year's Iowa State team all of a sudden. Like, I think it's something like since January 1st, I read they're like 256 in effective field goal percentage out of 363 teams. It's horrible. It's horrible. So I'm going to have to switch. I just don't know who to take because the rest of this top 10 isn't great. I can't take Arizona because Purdue is number 2, which is shitty because you get UConn at fucking 3. So I'm going to take, and you have Tennessee at 5, so I can't take them. So my options are Auburn, North Carolina, Alabama, Iowa State, and Duke.
Yeah, take North Carolina.
I got to. I was going to say Auburn, but you're right. Okay, I'm going to switch. I'll take Purdue and North Carolina for now. I'm hoping the net rankings move around enough to where I can finagle someone other than that because I don't like them. Is there anybody you want to switch in your middle part? Gonzaga, Kentucky, Creighton.
Who do you have in your middle part?
I have Illinois, Florida, and Baylor, but I may switch. One. I'm keeping Baylor for sure.
Yeah, no, I didn't know if anybody had Baylor. I would have taken Baylor.
I'm keeping Baylor and Illinois for sure. The one I'm on the fence about is Florida after them losing to fucking Vanderbilt the other day. The damn Commodores up 3 with the ball with 23 seconds to go, and they call a foul 5 seconds after the play ends to give them 2 free throws, and then fucking point guard throws the ball to the other team on the inbounds. Memorial Magic. That's exactly what it was.
I will. Do I want to get rid of Gonzaga? That's the question. Do I want to give up on?
I don't know. They've been playing some pretty good basketball. I know they.
I'll just keep them. Yeah, I was looking at the rest of the field for that.
Pick up here?
I'll keep Gonzaga.
Did you drop Marquette?
You dropped Marquette.
I dropped Marquette. You have Creighton.
Yeah.
Fuck. I was thinking I had Creighton. I think I took Marquette before.
Yeah, you did.
But that was when Kolick was healthy and they were playing good, and now without him.
Dropped Kansas earlier, but I have Creighton, Gonzaga, and Kentucky.
Man, you know what? I'm thinking about taking Marquette just because I think Kolick has to come back.
Oh yeah, he will.
And thinking about it right now, Florida, I don't know that I trust them after watching what I watched, even though I did bet them in a parlay to win the SEC tournament at 20-1. There's just nobody else here that I like. I mean, BYU is inconsistent. They have been playing better. I'm not taking St. Mary's. You have Gonzaga. Kansas is done. You have Kentucky. I hate San Diego State. I hate Dayton. I hate Wisconsin. I hate Boise State. I hate Michigan State. I fucking hate Texas. Clemson sucks. Colorado sucks. I mean,
Wisconsin's getting bounced in the first round.
100%. I hope they get a bad matchup. Oh, dude. You know what? That would be so dumb. Do I dare take my Cornhuskers here at 37?
I saw him and almost took him just to piss you off. But I wouldn't. But
give me Nebraska, baby. I'll take Nebraska. I'm gonna get my Cornhuskers. Okay. Give me Florida. Drop Florida. Add Nebraska.
Problem with Nebraska is I think they're gonna be an 8 or a 9 seed and they're gonna lose to the 1 seed that they play. I think.
Yeah.
But who knows?
It's very possible.
Well, you can pick them up for now. You'll drop them by next week.
Don't dare! How dare you? How dare you? I'm like, if they're a 7 seed and they get a good matchup with the 2, I will definitely keep them.
I think they'll be 8 or 9. But yeah,
I think they finished 3rd in the Big Ten.
They have them as a 9.
Do they really?
Does, yeah. Playing Boise State.
They'll definitely win the first.
UConn above them.
Dude, if they play Boise State in the first round and that line is anything within 3, that is going to be my best bet of the year because Boise State is
Boise by a million.
Yeah, right. Boise, dude, fade the Mountain West in the tournament, okay? You'll win a lot of money. Are you keeping your mid-majors, Grand Canyon and McNeese State?
No,
I'm sorry, you have Princeton and McNeese State. Now, I will say, since it seems like you like those 2 teams better, what I'm going to do is I already have James Madison in. So, and I think I'm almost positive you're going to have McNeese in for sure. So if you get Princeton in, I'm assuming you're going to keep them. I'm going to switch Indiana State to Grand Canyon if Indiana State doesn't get in. Because Grand Canyon, I'm assuming, is going to win that tournament. Although, well, actually, no, I take it back. I'm pretty sure they will because the 2 seed in that tournament is Tarleton State, and they cannot make the tournament. So if that championship comes down to Grand Canyon Tarleton, Grand Canyon will get an auto bid regardless of the outcome of that game.
Yeah, they'll play the game, but
and they won't have to play Seattle till the championship. So hopefully Tarleton gets there and Grand Canyon locks up the seed going into the championship. Anything else here? Let's go. We have to talk a few other things in the NBA as we are moving close to the playoffs here. The Lakers are, I believe, in the 9th spot right now. It's going to be a weird playoffs. Right now, if the playoffs started today, the Kings, who have been really good the last couple years in the West, they would have to play a play-in game against the Mavericks. And then the Lakers would have to play a play-in game against the Warriors.
The West is so tough. Like, all those teams are good.
Everybody has a winning record in the top 10.
Yeah, it's crazy.
34-30 is the 10 spot, and 45-20 is the first spot. 10 games separate first and last.
Honestly, the Mavs are an 8 seed, and I think, and I don't watch much NBA, but they're an 8 seed, and I legitimately feel like in a 7-game series, they have a chance to beat anybody in the
100%
West.
They do. 100%.
I mean, they're just, with Luka and Kyrie's still there, right? I mean,
I kind of hope the Suns drop out and the Mavs or Kings move up because I just can't stand the Suns and they suck.
The Spurs have officially been eliminated.
Let's go.
The funniest part is San Antonio. The funniest part is I think they're actually the first team mathematically eliminated
because we're in the West.
The East is so much worse. Yeah,
well,
so the Wizards are eliminated.
Washington's eliminated in the East.
So yeah, that's pretty funny.
Wow. So, well, we must have been the first team because Washington must have just been eliminated because the Pistons somehow aren't eliminated and they're 11-53 and the Wizards are 11.
We got to make sure we don't somehow pass the Blazers.
I forget. Is it the top? The bottom 4 or bottom 3?
Bottom 4, I think.
Bottom 4 get the same odds.
I think bottom 4, bottom 3. I don't really remember.
I don't think we're getting. I think 3 is what we're going to finish.
Yeah, hopefully so. Hornets are really bad too, but they get to play in the East, so.
Yeah,
a little bit more favorable matchups.
2 more wins. Ooh, I didn't see that. We could definitely get passed by the Hornets as a worse team. Looking at the standings here, I know Steph Curry has an ankle issue going on. The Warriors look horrible, although they did go out and beat the living shit out of the Bucks the other night. Not that that's saying much. Do you think? What do you think about the Timberwolves? Do you think they can actually make any noise in the playoffs? They have some injury concerns right now. Rudy Gobert's out. Not that that fucking matters.
I think when Jeff was on, he said no, right?
Yeah, he said no.
I'll go ahead and I'll just go with whatever he says. He watches probably 50 times more NBA than me, so I'll go with him. I don't know, though. I would say that the West is just impossible, right? Because everybody's so good. But Minnesota, to me, when I've watched them play, although the one time I saw them play live, they lost to the San Antonio Spurs.
Which is embarrassing.
But, yeah, Anthony Edwards is awesome. And then, Karl Anthony Towns is fine. Gobert, whatever, is out there for defense. Like, the team as a whole And obviously they're 45-21, so they're a pretty solid team.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was saying earlier on he didn't know if Anthony Edwards was ready to whatever. But from what I've watched, he could take over a game and score 40 points at any time.
Absolutely.
So I just don't think they'll run. I mean, I think that they have a better chance than Oklahoma City, weirdly enough, and I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. I just think Oklahoma City's so young. T-Wolves at least have Karl Anthony Towns and Gobert and some vets.
Yeah,
but
OKC,
I mean, I think that I personally think, just looking at it, that the Nuggets or Clippers are going to win the West.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think one of those teams will win the West.
I think so, too.
But
I think that's what it's going to come down to.
I think it'll be Nuggets or Clippers. So
hopefully they don't end up playing each other till the conference finals. Although the Clippers, I think the Clippers are just getting like a little bit stale because they made that really big push where they went like 17-1. Since like the last 10 games are 5-5. They haven't played great, but I think part of it is just, well, they also run. This actually matters. Y'all can make fun of me, but my boy Russell Westbrook got my new Thunder jersey, by the way.
Russell
broke his hand, so he's been out for the last 2 weeks, and he's not going to come back till like right before the playoffs.
I had no idea he was even playing for the Clippers.
Oh yeah, he's their sixth man. Well, he started, and then when James Harden went there, they moved him to come off the bench.
The bearded monster,
but
took his spot.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. The Kings, I've watched the Kings play a couple times this year. They're really fucking good at times. And they're probably playing in a play-in game. Like
the Mavs are right. Yeah, I mean,
that's just nuts.
The play-in games for the West is going to be insane.
I wonder if this doesn't tend to happen very often, but I wonder if teams get beat up so bad in that Western playoff run that it gives the Celtics a chance to actually win the championship this year. It could.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think the Celtics are complete frauds. Don't get me wrong. I think Jason Tatum is a bum. Joe Mazzulla is an idiot. I think Jaylen Brown is one of the most overpaid players in the NBA. Derek White has the biggest forehead I've ever seen. And I don't know why he decided to go bald. Maybe just to make it one giant forehead head. I don't know what you call that, but
that's funny.
Besides that, the Celtics are great besides all of those things.
51-14. Wow,
yeah. They're
running through the East. 29-3 at home.
But we all know what's going to happen. They're going to get the Miami Heat somehow in the first round and really fucking struggle with them because they always do.
And probably go 6 or 7 games.
Yeah. Besides that, I mean, I really think if I had to pick a champion right now, even though I'm sticking with my Clippers as my pick because I picked them at the beginning of the year, but I think the best team come playoff time, you just have to go with the Nuggets this year. Again, I don't know that they'll win it because it's just so hard to come out of the West, but they run the best. Nobody else runs any offense. Like they do, but not like that. Like the way the Nuggets run their offense and play through Jokic and run sets and have quick hitters and have a flow to their offense and also have a massive home court advantage. I just think the Nuggets are probably the favorite to win it all again, even if they are the 2 seed right now, and they might not end up being the 1st seed, although they are 9-1 in their last 10. They're starting to play much better after kind of a lackluster
I think I
start.
went out on a big limb before the season. I picked the Bucks and Nuggets.
Oh, so. what a tough pick there.
Yeah. I'll stick with it. I'll say that the Celtics will blow it in the playoffs.
I think I said Bucks and Clippers.
You did. You said Clippers.
If I had to pick right now, I would say I don't trust the Bucks. So I would say...
Oh, neither do I.
I don't trust the Celtics either, but I would say the Celtics and the Clippers is who I'm going to stick. I'm going to say that's going to be my pick, even though I think probably Denver is a little bit better than the Clippers in terms of odds to win the title. Let's see here. Oh, did you see Rudy Gobert do the money sign to Scott Foster?
Yeah, he got fined $100K.
$100,000. Well, it's the 3rd or 4th time he's fucking done something like that.
Man, Rudy Gobert's a fucking idiot.
That guy's the biggest piece of dog
Remember during
shit.
COVID, he went around touching everybody's touching everybody's stuff, and literally the next day it was like Rudy Gobert test positive for coronavirus, and then the season shut down and the NCAA tournament was done.
He's the reason we didn't have an NCAA tournament.
Really?
We didn't have a state tournament. He ruined high school basketball players' careers because of that.
He really was. I will say, I really do believe he was the reason we didn't have an NCAA basketball tournament, because it looked like we were going to do it, and then the NBA shut down because Gobert, did that, and it was like, just not safe to play, and then the NCAA followed suit, which I was shocked because I was like, man, there's so much money in the NCAA tournament, they're going to do it anyway. But the TV, they may play in empty gyms. That's what I thought as well. I was like, they're going to play in empty gyms, but they're going to put it on TV because there's too much money at stake.
Have to.
And when they canceled it, I was like, holy shit.
I was absolutely shocked. And my dad, of course, because he's just wants to say anything opposite of me, and because he wants to be negative, he said that they were going to cancel it. I will hand it to him. He goes, no, they're never playing this game. They're canceling it. Everything's getting canceled. Everybody's going to die. I think that was
that sounds exactly what he would have said.
Yeah, we're all dead.
We're all going to die.
But yeah, I can't wait. Sunday selection Sunday. We're going to know the field on Sunday. We're going to have our matchups. A week from today, we'll be in the second day of play-in games. We will have our first round games, which to me, the best 2 days of the year in sports is the Thursday and Friday and the first round of the NCAA tournament, because you legitimately have 4 games on from 11 a.m. to midnight all day long, and it's all good games and even matchups, and it's just straight madness. The madness is here. March is back. My favorite time of the year, without a doubt. And then we get 3 weeks later, and I'm depressed because we have fucking just NBA left.
That's when you take the Chris Lieck hibernation pill to wake up.
Got to do an infomercial for that. That's
preseason football.
I wrote a script for that. I need to.
That's pretty funny.
Shoot that.
Yeah.
But
next episode we'll have our brackets. We'll have Big Dog's bracket in here. We'll see if he can come on, and maybe we should at least give him a chance not to say anything offensive. I told you.
Bailey, what do you think?
I told you yesterday he won't even make it onto the set because he'll do something inappropriate coming in.
I'll just say in our meeting yesterday, he was not on his best behavior, but he did compliment me quite a bit. So I was shocked. I've never heard him compliment me. He's never done it to my face. It's always, to someone else every once in a while he'll do it, but not when I'm there. And he actually did a couple times. I was shocked.
Wow, so y'all are being nice to each other now.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
We'll see how long this lasts.
Wouldn't go that far.
That's funny.
He said something about he's a very respectful kid. I mean, not to me, but to everybody else or something. The guy started laughing. I think that's all we got for today. We'll wrap this up. We've got I'm gonna do a video about a breakdown of the bubble teams and their resumes and stuff today. I've got to get these skits going. I shot one, but I am the person who shoots something and hates what I see when I do it, and I want to fucking redo it 100 times. But we are going to have some content coming together. I talked to a guy, and I told Turner this. We talked to this guy who's really, really awesome dude who has done a ton of podcasts, helped a lot of big time sports and celebrities do their podcasts and stuff, and that gave me some really good advice. So we're just going to keep doing this thing. We've said this, it's not like this is anything different. We've said we're going to keep doing this no matter how many people listen or not, and we're going to keep doing it till something works and we make it or whatever. But we're going to keep shooting shows because we like doing it, and that's all that really matters right now. So thank you guys for tuning into this episode. We will be back on Monday, and hopefully we'll get back. We're going to get to a consistent schedule. We're either going to start doing every Monday or every Wednesday. Obviously, next week we're doing Monday because of the bracket. Yep. But we'll get to a consistent schedule very soon. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will wrap this up and see you guys next week. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. That helps us out big time. Leave us a comment. Tell us anything. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like, what topics you want us to talk about. Tell us we sucked, honestly. Tell us whether you want Big Dog back on the show. Anything helps.
Bring back Big Dog.
Don't hashtag. We're gonna make shirts that say "Bring back Big Dog" and sell them on our website. But yeah, check out the description for any other links for our social media and for my website for free college basketball and NFL and college football picks and articles. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Mm-hmm.